Hi guys, my name's Elliotthb and this page is about energy work, personal development and fasting. And today I wanted to touch on my reasons why I first started fasting. I started playing around with it about 3 years ago. And when I say 3 years ago, that was when I started doing it naturally, without taking recreational drugs. So I'd actually experienced long periods of times in my late teens and 20s of going sometimes up to 7 days without food from taking recreational drugs. And this is obviously not healthy, but it's something that when I look back on, I realised that the periods of times I was not eating when I was taking drugs, it was probably actually benefiting me more than the people that I was with that were taking the drugs and eating because they believed they needed to eat. So I had roughly a 19-year span of really abusing drugs and alcohol, and yet if I have any blood tests, body tests, liver tests or anything like this, considering the amount of abuse that I gave my body over the years, I'm in pretty good shape. In fact, I'd go as far to say excellent shape. Everything from alkaline acid levels to mineral levels, blood levels, and obviously the last 3 years I've been really practicing. I've gone from eating meat to being pescatarian to then going plant-based with a little bit of honey, and then taking the honey out and going fully vegan, and then having stages of going through juice fasting, water fasting, dry fasting and hard dry fasting, which is stage 4 breatharianism. And as you've probably seen in my introduction video, this year I'm going 365 days without solid food. I started out fasting after a split from an ex-girlfriend or ex-fiance of mine, because I realised that I'd hit rock bottom and I was taking a lot of drugs and just eating a lot of crap foods. Even though I'd started to cut the meat out around that time, I was still eating a lot of processed foods, which are very, very low vibrational. So the more you raise your body's natural vibration and the more you embody more light, the better you feel and the better your surroundings become. So when you eat nice high vibrational foods like mangoes, bananas, pineapples and fruits are generally the best, especially the ones that have spent the most amount of time in the sun, because they've embodied the most amount of light. And what I've now discovered from the fasting that I've been doing is the whole benefits of fasting is to embody as much light as possible. And if you go back into really ancient scriptures and teachings, it says we came from the light and we go back to the light. Basically light is what we are at a very, very fundamental level. And you will have heard, as you've probably heard me say in my introduction video, that throughout history we've had people like Jesus, Mohamed, the Buddha, and even if you go back way 1,000 years before, like 15 to 30,000 years before Christ, like Thoth in the Emerald Tablets recommends fasting for 7 days with no food and no water, because food is what actually keeps the human soul from the body, is what it says in the Emerald Tablets if you read that. So when I first started, it generally started out for me just being something that I wanted to lose weight, because I was in probably the worst shape that I'd ever been in. I'd probably shot up to about 36 waist, and I'd always been around sort of a 30. I was back up to about 15 stone, which is what I peaked at in my sort of bodybuilding days when I was about 28, 29. And I just generally didn't feel good, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally at all. So I decided to try fasting, and obviously you've heard my journey. Went through spending a month in France and the Pyrenees Mountains studying astral projection and meditation and yoga and lots of other spiritual practices, but fasting was one of the best ones for me. It completely changed my whole life, my whole emotional mentality. And once I'd done my first ever, I'm a very extreme person, so the first fast that I actually threw myself into was 7 days, no food, no water, and no bathing with water either. And I completed it, and afterwards I thought to myself, I don't believe anything now. History is an absolute load of bullshit. It is his story and it's not my story, and from this point onwards I'm creating my own story. And from that point onwards, I just started to try everything for myself that I'd been led to believe. So I started to write with my left hand. I started to do juggling, which this actually balances your corpus callosum, which divides the two hemispheres of the brain, and it gets them working in unity a lot better. So everything's about balance. So when we balance the left and right brain hemispheres of our brain, we balance our masculine and feminine energies. Our energy, we start to become a lot more aware of our energy around us and how our energy then reflects outwards and brings matching energies towards us. So whereas at the time when I was doing a lot of drugs, it was a very weird sensation, because people that didn't know me, when they was around me when I was doing drugs, I could run out of drugs and I could have another drug dealer there within about an hour, which a lot of people found pretty amazing, like, because I could do this 10, 15 times. But looking back on it, it's obviously because my vibration was at that vibration, so that anyone around me that actually particularly had it, I mean, one person even said to me that you're probably the most resourceful person I've ever met in my life. And I think my sister actually said the same thing about me, but it wasn't actually being resourceful, it was actually just matching my vibration to what I wanted, so that then anyone who had a similar vibration would come to me. And this is happening with my life now. I've actually got a great team around me. I'm hosting lots of different talks, events, and mentoring a few people, and seeing them experience what I went through in areas of their lives where I was struggling is very, very rewarding, not just for them but for myself as well, because a lot of people that I've been mentoring over the last 2 years are now actually starting to mentor people themselves, which is brilliant, because it seems like collectively everyone's vibration is raising, and this has a knock-on effect through every single part of your life. The further and further I get into this, the more that gets revealed to me, because the higher I feel I vibrate, the more different veils come down and the more I'm shown. And it only takes one easy step each day for you to get to the next step. But if you don't take that first step, you're never going to get anywhere. So I'll set a goal, if anyone actually wants to start, back where I started. For some reason, when I was really down, the first thing I started to do is I took a pad and I wrote down every single quality of successful people that I wanted to embody. And it was equality, oneness, joyfulness, health, prosperity, strength, flexibility, mindfulness. And I wrote out about 4 pages, and every morning and every night I'd make sure that I'd read these. I'd set my alarm for first thing in the morning, last thing before I went to bed, and once during the day. And when your alarm goes off, read these things, because what this does, it puts your attention onto it. And when your attention goes to these words, your energy goes to these words. When your energy goes to these words, it draws these things to you. So all of a sudden the synchronicities start happening because you put your energy on something. It's like when you say, I haven't seen Paul for ages, and now you put your attention, your energy onto it. I haven't seen Paul for 2 years, the next day he pops up, it's like, fucking hell, Paul, I ain't seen you for ages. That's a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. You've just realised how much of a powerful creator you are. Step into that power and use it for your benefit, and use it for the benefit of others. The more you use it for the benefit of yourself and the benefit of others, the more it will work for you. I hope you enjoyed this video today, and I look forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow. I'm going to be posting every day apart from Sundays now. Yeah, thanks for watching.